welcome to That's Club. This is what we do in between takes. Thanks. Thanks for watching and thank you for listening. Also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Before anything else, guys, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you have not already, and ring that notification button so you never miss the comment section or off the clock episodes. Welcome again to the That's Club. My name is Pablo, John to my left, and we're gonna just dive in really quick to this. What's happening? We have a lot of subjects. We have a lot of topics. We have things in our minds. We literally what we're discussing in between what we're gonna talk about in the next episode and stuff like that. So we got it. This is something that it's dear to our heart, which is being a dad, first of all, and then number two is the question of what are the biggest challenges fathers, dads, and parents face on a daily basis. And one of the things I said, it was, kind of like work and family time, right? That's something that we experience every day. We go through life and we would love to actually give more sometimes to our kids. We would love to actually be there present sometimes and just pick them up every single day from school. But sometimes the reality is totally the opposite. Mm-hmm. And, nostalgia actually goes my way. I remember I used to be like that. Like, I used to work for the telecommunication company, and I used to be in the field all the time. Maggie had to go and pick up the girls, and I did not actually have time because I was working from 8 o'clock all the way to the work is done. Sometimes until like 7, 8 o'clock. So what are your thoughts on this, bro? And like I said, it's dear to our heart in that sense because we feel parents out there. We feel you guys. I know the pain.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I second Pablo. A lot of what we talk about here is stuff that we actively, currently, or have recently dealt with. It's not just like we're searching for stuff. This is real life, guys.
Yeah, it is real life.
No, work for me. I'm a pastor of a church. Pastor at a church, not of a church. Thank God I don't have to pastor the whole church, but at a church where life, yeah, like this doesn't ever stop. But yeah, sometimes work and life, especially, I think Jamie and I are in a very, very, very rare situation.
I think we are like the four of us.
Yeah, where we not only work together, we co-pastor together. We actually work together, and then that work comes home with us.
Yep.
And for the most part, consumes a lot of our conversation and a lot of our time, but. That doesn't mean we share even the same sort of skills. So sometimes my time is taken away where I have to deal with technical things, where I have to be physically at the church, yep. Working on equipment or
the
making
computer
sure things are
turned off. It does not working. We cannot actually control it remotely. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are things where I do have to be away, or even special services like funerals, something that's coming up soon where, I am not going to be able to pick up Judah or take Judah to school or, and that's tough because, I before kids, I was also doing the same thing Pablo did where I wasn't coming home till almost 7 at night or whatever, but thankfully, the Lord has put me in this position now, but the work is still a lot. Where I'll be at home, I'll be here physically, but mentally,
your mind is somewhere else.
I'm working. I'm on the computer. My attention is away from what and most of the time I have to turn Judah away. Like, let me finish this. Just 1 second. Come play with me right now. I have to finish this right now. Like, just give me a few minutes, give me a half an hour, give me, and he's 3. He still doesn't quite understand the concept of time. He doesn't know what 30 minutes means. He doesn't know what 20 minutes means, 15, 20, 10. And so having to balance, my attention, because I absolutely, I don't think I would be the person I am today without the attention that my father gave me, the relationship that I had with my father. The man hustled. He didn't come home, till 7 at night every day. But when he was home, he made it very impactful. He was like present. He didn't take work home with him. He, and in those aspects, I'm like, I need to do more of that. I need to know when to set the boundary, when to say,
that's good.
I'm done working. This is my family time right now. This is my, So, sorry. Yeah, I know. There's a lot here, but it's a lot to unpack. But I did, I was before we started recording, was just sharing like a blurb, or I don't know. It's from Instagram somewhere where a man was talking about, where if I'm giving my family, too much of my time, I'm not making a lot of money, and I'm missing out on opportunities to provide. And then if I'm spending all my time making money, then my time with my family is impacted, and so, yeah, as fathers, can't say every situation is the same, but we and mothers too, I'm sure, out there
general,
who struggle with the, I need to provide, yet I need to be present. That's such it's a hard thing. It's definitely a thing. For you, Pablo, how, in those late hours, God. How did it feel knowing you missed some important things, or where you were like, because you were working, you weren't be able to do and be there for certain things?
Picked up my daughters and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it just, you and I were working in the same company for various years and stuff like that. So, but we were single. We were like, not single, but we were married with no kids. That's it, right? We can actually just go home at any time, and we were hustling and stuff like that. And it was actually, we were making good money. Now, the problem is when kids come, you need to be present for them as well. And how is that impacting your life? How is that impacting your interaction with your kids? And do they actually feel that you're present? Do they feel that, is your wife actually feels that you're actually helping? And we have we've been blessed with working for the church. Now that I'm working for the church with you and Jamie and my wife, we are in a particular situation where we can see each other, we can work, we have different offices, we have different spaces, and we split, right? But before it was kind of like, well, in my case, I used to work from Tuesday through Saturday. So Saturdays, that it was going to be, in general, most of the time parents are going to be, with their kids. They're going to play soccer or whatever, parties and stuff like that. It used to hurt my heart in that sense that I was not going to be present for my daughter to say, hey, they're going to a birthday party, and we, just come home and we'll bring you something, whatever, right? It just kind of like, oh man, I got to be here. Sometimes I just like, I was honest with my superior in that time, and it was like, I'm going to take time off today, or I'm going to call out because I feel that I need to be here with my wife, right? If it's something like, they're going to travel, my heart was kind of like beating in that sense, like, oh, they're going to travel until like, I don't know, an hour away or 2 hours away, and I'm not going to be there. I want to make sure they're okay. Stuff like that going through my head, right? Yes, as a man of God, you have to trust that God has everything in control, but how do you deal with this stuff? How do you deal with the pressure of providing but not being present, and the pressure of not being present, but you have to provide? So how do you deal with this stuff? I believe this is one of the things is like, and I think actually God is making me do this on a hard way, the hard way, right? What am I actually saying with this? As everybody knows, I lost my job back in January when I started. Actually, when we started, me and John, we started this podcast. I felt strongly a guy was telling me to start this podcast actually last year, and I didn't because I was super busy. I was super intense working in my management position in the company, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, bye. And then now what am I gonna do? So I'm gonna focus on being with my wife. I'm gonna focus on being with the babies and the girls and take care of the girls, drop them off at school and stuff like that. I love it. I love being in their lives. I love being in their environment. Yes, we have to work and stuff like that. Now, for that, I would just want to say God has provided every single thing that we need and more. Now, I'm still looking for a job. I already said that, it was kind of like I was going to work for a company. It didn't work out with the company. They were not offering me what I was actually looking for. And at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to be working from 5 o'clock in the morning all the way to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So that gives it 12 hours. Yeah, you can actually make a little bit more, but I'm sacrificing my time with my family. So I have to be present. Now that I have 5 girls, I think I have to be present. Now, what am I saying with this? I just stopped and I said, I'm going to do something different. And I presented this to my wife. I presented this to even you, John, and you kind of like, agree with me in that sense. So I'm just being technically, I'm just going to be a videographer, right? I'm just going to film real estate. I'm going to film promos and stuff like that. So it's been working so far. I just making kind of like my own company in that sense. So I can actually have more work. Yes, it's more work because I'm starting from the bottom, but I'm present. I'm being present more at home. And that actually gives me the flexibility of being at home. But in that case, it's just a particular case, right? That's my case. Not everybody's going to have that option. So what I can tell you is this: quality time, yes, is important, but in order for you to have quality time, you need to have time, which is actually, like you said, your dad was like, how, and you're going to ask, how am I going to have time when I want to give quality time? Just disconnect from work. Just get rid of all the thoughts right now. Just let it go. Turn off your phone. Don't pick it up. And you actually understand this, right? Sometimes you don't even actually pick up my calls.
The conversation needed to be had first, though, with my wife, with Jamie, like, where it's like, yes, it's easy to say, I'm just going to turn my phone off, or we're not. But again, we've got to be intentional. We have to set, we have to, the family goals have to be priority over the work goals.
Correct.
Because your family's your first, that's your ministry. That is your first priority above everything.
Correct.
And when you honor that, your things will go a lot smoother. And when I say that, we've had to come to a place where, like, man, first we came to a place where, like, man, we don't feel like we're getting any rest. We feel like we're just constantly working, and we realized, it's because we're not setting boundaries between the work.
Yeah, that's good.
And our family time. And so we had to, we still are doing this in terms of, like, what is the most important things for our family? What is priority, and the time we spend, because we're not going to get it back.
Nope.
We're not going to get this time back where where my son he's turning 3 and he's just going to keep on getting older, and we can't get this time back. And so when it comes to the time, there's time to work, and Judah is going to understand there's a time where you have to work. You have to put in work to achieve goals that you set for yourself, that you set for your family,
for your future.
You're gonna have to work. That is not something that you're not going to be able to do. And so for us, it was having these realizations, really. I think it's from God, and just, the exhaustion. We're sitting there and we're like, we're working too much. We're working way too much. We're not dating each other. We're not going on dates. We went on a date last week and it was amazing. Even though the movie we saw, was not a date movie. We saw Sound of Freedom, and Jamie's weeping the whole time. I'm like trying to hold it together, trying to not be angry and also like heartbroken all at the same time. Just the reality of it all. Sorry, that's a whole nother thing. But just saying, hey, let's go out. Judah's at school. Let's not work. Yeah. Because that's usually what would happen is Judah's at school. We get to work. We do the things that we work on, and then Judah comes back, and then there's no, and that's just the time between me and the wife. But now Judah's back from school, and when Judah's at school, we're putting this attention, and then when I'm putting too much attention to that, I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot I needed to do these things for work. And so it's just like now you setting time. Yeah. And lately, one of the tools that's been helping me, I sat down and I got on my computer. I was probably up till like 1 a.m, just writing out like my weekly to-dos, like things that I know I have to do every single week. Yeah. It's a practical thing, but it's a tool. Yeah. It's going to help me stay on track. It's going to send reminders to my phone. This is what you need to work on right now. And that way I'm not just like in the middle of family time and I'm like, I got to go do something real quick. And then I'm gone for like an hour and a half. Right. So that's just really it is if we're going to be intentional, if we're going to make this a priority, then I need to do, for me, and I don't know what it will look like for you or for you who is watching, utilize the tools that you have, reminders on iOS, on the whole, Apple system is great. Yep. Your calendar, something that helps you stay focused on one thing to where that time makes sense. Yep. And then allotting the time that is the most important, which is your family time. Correct. Yeah. Allocating that time there. So it's just intentionality.
Yeah, no, I think you just hit the nail on the head. It's just simply be intentional in that sense. Why? Because life, it comes your way, and sometimes you're gonna not even know what's gonna happen. We're not gonna go biblical in that sense, but managing your time, it's something that you have to learn as an adult. And how are you gonna teach this to your kids to handle your time, handle money, handle the stuff? You have to be that person, right? And I think time is gonna be precious because time has no price. So we're just gonna finish with this and just be intentional. Number one, have a schedule. Sometimes it's gonna work like that. Like you and Jamie, you guys schedule a date. Let's just schedule this date. Let's go out. Me and Maggie, we're scheduling something soon, so we gotta try to go out for a couple of hours while the babies are just being fed, and then 2 hours later they're gonna start eating again. So we already talked about this yesterday, and it's needed. I need my time with my wife when I can talk to her, not have like intimacy. It's just this intimacy that we need is a conversation out of the house, somewhere else where we can actually just kind of like, okay, I love you. I need to reconnect with you in that sense. But going back to the kids, just want to make sure that you understand quality time. Yes, give quality time. How are you going to give quality time? Give the time to the quality. How are you going to get the approach this way? Get rid of all the stuff. Just disconnect from work and then focus on your kids. If you have to sit down and build a Lego like I did the other day with the girls, build a Lego set, do it. They like that. They want that's the communication they actually needed at some point, not actually just sit down, watch TV, and that's it. Probably you're going to fall asleep watching the TV. No, just do something that is not involving media. do something with them and sit down with them. I like I said, I did it. I was losing it at some point because so many pieces, and I was like, "What is this piece at? Oh, you guys took the pieces." But I had to sit down and was like, "Okay, listen, how about this? Let's just take a cup of water, come back, and then let's just start redoing all this stuff." It's gonna take time. They loved it. They said, "Dad, this was the best day ever." Just because I sit down with them 30 minutes, right? But for me, it was like a lot. Again, just intentionality. That's something that is gonna impact the quality time with your kids. And like I said, not everybody's the same. Like me and John, we work for the church and we have the ability to move back and forth and something like that. But yes, we're busy. But Sundays are literally just not negotiable. We have to be there. But guess what? We got to take our kids to church too. So they're in my office sometimes. They're downstairs in the Sunday school. And then, we got to go back and forth. Jamie has to go check on Judah after worship, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we're moving all the time. We're moving all the time. Yeah. So be intentional. Be intentional in that sense.
Yeah. I know I gave out some practical tools and tips. Am I perfect at? No. I'm still working on it. I'm still figuring figuring out what works. I set myself to do some work at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, but does it really work? It's a trial and error process. It's seeing how it works, readjusting, reshifting, but all with the big picture in mind of this is a healthy thing.
Yep.
Doing what is healthy for yourself, for you and your spouse if you're married, for you, your spouse and your children if you have them. You got to think of those things that will not make you feel overwhelmed, because I think there are people out there, including myself, where it felt overwhelming. It felt like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do, and and maybe some of you there right now, and that's okay, because that's the point to where it's like, okay, let's start making changes. Let's start figuring out where we can make the adjustment so that this makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not stressed. They're not stressed. They feel loved. They feel like I'm present. They feel like I'm there.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, if it has come down to, like I said, God is obligating me to go the entrepreneur way, where I can actually just go and have my own, media company in that sense. So I'm just starting right now. But at the same time, I've been doing this for years. Me and John have been doing media for years. So it's not actually a brand new thing. I've been working on this thing for years. Is this going to help me? It's helping me right now. So yes, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm going to be present for my kids while they're at work. Maybe, while they're actually at school, I'm going to be doing some stuff back and forth. But I want to be there. I want to be there. I want to just give that time for the quality that they need. So we're just going to say bye to this. Be present for your kids. Be there for your kids. Be there for your wife. Sometimes you really want to be there for yourself. Sometimes you just got to have your own moment. Probably it's going to come at some point. Just schedule that moment. Schedule it. Schedule and make time for that yourself too. You need to sometimes decompress and just read a book, or just, I don't know, drink a cup of coffee. That's it. Take a moment. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Before anything else, like I said, do us a favor. Make sure you like this video, subscribe if you have not, and ring the notification button so you never miss a comment section or off the clock episode. We'll see you next time. John to the left, Pablo here. We love you. Thank you. Peace.
Bye.